Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a closer look, a really deep look actually, into noha recitation. It's this very profound form of lamentation. And our guide for this is quite specific. It's a source called Lamentations of Karbala, a guide to noha recitation.
Right.
So our mission really is to unpack what noha is, sure, but also its, unique features as an oral thing, the powerful story it carries.
And how it works, doesn't it? How it creates that deep emotional connection.
Exactly. We want you to get a real feel for this unique cultural and religious expression.
Yeah, it's about getting into the artistry, the impact.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at the specific instructions in the guide, not just what's said, but how all those pieces fit together to make it so moving.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. The essence of noha. Our source calls it a sorrowful, simple, mournful style, a matami andaz. That term itself, matami andaz, what does that really signal? It's more than just music, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's fundamental. It sets the entire emotional stage. Matami andaz literally means, a mourning or lamenting style. And the key is its simplicity.
Simplicity? How so?
Well, it means the raw grief, the sorrow. It isn't hidden behind, say, really complex melodies. It allows the emotion to come through, sort of unfiltered. It's about embodying that shared sadness, not distracting from it.
And it's so tied to Karbala. The title Lamentations of Karbala makes that obvious. How does pinning it to that specific historical event shape what noha is trying to do?
That link is everything. Noha isn't just some abstract sadness. It's a direct, almost visceral response to a known event, one seen as full of sorrow and injustice.
Right.
So it grounds the lament. It takes historical memory and makes it a living, breathing, felt thing for the community listening.
Okay, that makes sense. The source also says the style follows the tune, rhythm, and weight used in majalis, these common assemblies. For something passed down orally, meant for people to remember together, why stick to such a defined style?
That structure is key. It's about making sure the memory isn't just shared intellectually, but felt collectively. The rhythm, the known tunes, they guide everyone's grief together.
So it channels it.
Exactly. It channels it, turning individual sorrow into this unified collective expression. It builds that community bond and makes sure the story and the feeling of the story stays consistent over time.
Reading through the source, the way the actual narrative plays out, it really struck me. It's not just listing facts, it takes you on an emotional journey, like right from the start. Yeah. It says the script begins silently, then a light tune comes in, and then it settles into this really slow, mournful tone. What's the effect of starting like that? Why that slow buildup?
It's actually quite clever. Emotionally, the silence sort of grabs your attention, right?
Yes.
And the light tune is like a gentle lead-in.
Okay.
Before it deliberately slows down, drawing you into the seriousness, the gravity of what's coming. It prepares you, creates this mental space to really take in the tragedy.
And then, boom, that first stanza hits hard. Tents burned, homes looted, all died of thirst. It's so stark.
Right.
And the violence, too. Arrows flew, spears dug in, bodies soaked. But what really got me were the personal details. Sakina, Ali Asghar cried out, mother's eyes welled up.
Yes.
And that image, small hands stroked father's body, focusing on the innocent, the children, the mother. What does that do for this story, for people listening?
It personalizes it massively, doesn't it? It moves beyond just recounting a historical battle. It connects you to the raw, universal pain of loss. That specific image, the small hands.
Yeah.
It makes the suffering so tangible, so immediate. It creates this empathetic link across time. You feel it.
And then there's the refrain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain. It comes after every stanza. And the guide says it should be slow but strong, like a slogan or really poignant. It's not just filler, is it? What's its function?
No, not at all. It's doing several things at once. It's definitely a cry of pain, yes, but it's also a call to remember. And importantly, it's a statement of, defiance.
Defiance. How so?
By repeating Ya Hussain and doing it with strength, it shifts from just personal lament to this collective statement of identity, of allegiance. It binds the reciter and the audience together. It's like this rhythmic pulse that deepens the meaning of everything else.
Okay, so stanza 1 is immediate horror, then stanza 2 shifts. It introduces this really jarring contradiction. Quran recited on a spear, head held high. That image, it's shocking. What's the impact of that, especially for an audience who holds the Quran so sacred?
It's a huge theological gut punch. The Quran on a spear, that's like the ultimate desecration, a total violation.
Right.
But then head held high, It flips it. It speaks to this unbreakable spirit, pride, even when facing total humiliation. It suggests that truth, even when attacked like that, can't really be destroyed.
Wow. Then it gets brutal again. Shimmer's dagger struck. Time was helpless. And the loss. Zainab's veil was snatched. Patience left her heart.
Yep.
That detail about Zainab's veil. It feels like more than just cloth being taken.
Oh, definitely. It's a profound violation of dignity, of honor. It symbolizes stripping away all comfort, all protection.
And then to say, patience left her heart. It feels so raw, so human. It shows a breaking point, even for someone known for strength. It makes the tragedy feel universal, almost.
Exactly. It's a brilliant way to show the depth of the violation and the immense personal cost. It shows that even the strongest can be momentarily overwhelmed before finding strength again. It grounds the epic story in very real, relatable pain.
Then the third stanza seems to shift again, focusing on very personal sacrifices, but also that unwavering spirit. We hear about Akbar called out to mother, slept on a spear, and Qasim's face was pale, but heart was pure. The source even notes an alternative reading for pure as or had wudu, suggesting ritual purity. Why include these individual stories like Akbar and Qasim and that detail about Qasim?
It adds these layers of deep personal tragedy. You move from the big picture of the battle to the intimate suffering within families. Highlighting specific individuals makes the loss concrete.
And the wudu part.
That detail about Qasim's purity or being in state of wudu elevates his death. It frames it not just as a loss, but as a kind of martyrdom, a sacrifice made with spiritual intention, even grace. It reinforces the idea these weren't just lives taken, but lives given for a cause.
And it keeps showing the collective grief, too. Sisters lamented over brothers' bodies.
Yeah.
But it ends on this note of resilience. Abid fell ill, prostrated in captivity. How does that balance work? The intense grief next to this steadfast devotion.
It sends a really crucial message about perseverance. Even in the middle of unimaginable suffering, being captive, ill, the act of prostration, of prayer, shows this unbreakable link to the divine.
Okay.
It's a powerful image of faith, holding strong through the worst adversity. It offers a kind of spiritual anchor for the listeners.
The fourth stanza then really drives home the cruelty, but also the resistance. It talks about caravan of Tajud worshippers trampled in dust. For those familiar, Tashud is the late night prayer, right?
Yeah.
Very sacred, very personal.
Exactly. It's a deeply spiritual practice. So the image of people engaged in that intimate devotion being trampled in dust, it's designed to be utterly shocking.
It sounds like the ultimate desecration.
It really is. It attacks the very core of religious sanctity and vulnerability.
And then the focus on innocence again. Child Sakina's scream shook the heavens. The perpetrator is named. Shimmer showed wrath, wore the crown of tyranny. It feels like it's building to pure despair, but then Zainab gave a sermon, shook the times. What does placing those two things side by side achieve? Innocence crushed by tyranny, then this powerful act of defiance.
It's like a turning point in the narrative, isn't it? It shows the absolute worst of power abused against the innocent and the sacred. But it immediately counters that with the power of truth, of spiritual resistance.
So Zainab's sermon isn't just words.
Not in that context. It's an act of defiance, spiritual, intellectual, that rises above the physical violence. It makes the point that the voice of truth, even when captive, can ultimately be stronger than any oppressor. It can shake things up.
Then the final stanza, the fifth one, seems to look at the long-term meaning, the symbolism, the call for justice. It starts with, head severed in prostration, calls out till Qiyamah, till the day of judgment, a severed head still calling out. What does that signify?
It transforms the physical death into something eternal. It's saying the message of Karbala, the injustice, isn't just a historical event that ended. It's an ongoing call, echoing through time, demanding justice until the very end. The martyrdom becomes this timeless plea.
And it asks that direct question, oh, oppressors, is this the reward for truth? That feels like it speaks way beyond just Karbala.
Absolutely. It takes the specific lament and makes it universal. It becomes an accusation against all injustice everywhere. It forces you, the listener, to think about power, truth, and morality in any context. It makes Karbala relevant now.
Then it ends with this powerful legacy. In Karbala, Hussein's banner was given. It is still a flag in the heart of every oppressed person. How does that line manage to make this specific event a universal symbol?
It's the final step, turning tragedy into empowerment. Hussein's banner stops being just a historical object and becomes this global symbol for standing up to tyranny.
Or for anyone oppressed.
Yes, exactly. Not just for one group, but for anyone feeling voiceless or crushed. It says the spirit of Karbala, the defiance, the call for justice lives on and inspires solidarity worldwide.
So we've walked through this incredibly powerful narrative. Let's circle back to the actual art of reciting it. The guide gives specific techniques. The rhythm, soft, simple, sorrowful. The pace, medium, with a 1 second pause after each line. That pause, that specific instruction seems important. What does that second of silence do?
It's crucial. It's not just about keeping time. It forces a breath, a moment for the weight of the line you just heard, the loss, the image, the defiance to actually land before the next one comes.
So it makes you engage more.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
It prevents it from becoming just a stream of words. It encourages active listening, active feeling. It makes sure you absorb the depth of each phrase. It intensifies the sorrowful rhythm, really.
Yeah. And the melodies. It suggests using tunes from known nohas, like Noha Gulame Piazza Zara or Aisham Wallow, because they're already sorrowful and simple. Why use existing tunes instead of always making new ones?
Well, it does two things. It makes it instantly accessible emotionally. Those tunes already carry weight, familiarity for the audience.
Ah, right. People already satiate them with.
Exactly, with that sorrowful mood. So it instantly taps into that shared emotional space. It also reinforces the collective experience using melodies that hold communal memories.
And finally, the audience part. It says a single person can recite, but it's more effective when audience repeats Ya Hussein after each instance. That really highlights the communal aspect. What makes that call and response so powerful for building that shared identity?
Because repeating Ya Hussein isn't just, joining in. It's an active thing. It's a collective affirmation. It's shared grief. Every time the audience echoes that cry, they're not just saying words. They're kind of reliving, reaffirming the shared experience, the suffering, the resolve. That communal voice makes the grief bigger, reinforces who they are together, and turns the whole thing into this powerful, unifying ritual.
So as we finish up here, it's worth really thinking about how this ancient form, so emotional, with its specific rhythm, its detailed story, its call and response, how it still resonates so strongly today.
Yeah, what does that tell us? The enduring power of this kind of detailed, sorrowful remembrance. What does it say about, human grief? About resilience, about our need maybe to tell stories of injustice, of sacrifice.
Right. And maybe think about how this very structured way of expressing pain becomes this powerful tool for remembering, yes, but also for building that collective identity. It invites you to consider the role art and shared stories play in keeping memory and meaning alive across generations, across cultures.